Remember history class? That cozy, quiet room where you learned all the fundamental truths about how the world came to be? Yeah, well, about that. It turns out your history teacher might have skipped over a few key details. Or, to put it another way, they might have taught you a bunch of complete, absolute lies. Today, we're opening a file on the biggest fake stories that have been passed off as history for generations. These are the facts you learned in school that are about as true as a unicorn. Lie number 1. Vikings wore horned helmets. Close your eyes and picture a Viking. You're probably seeing a giant, bearded dude with braids, a huge axe, and, of course, that iconic horned helmet, right? It's the go-to look for every Viking costume party and sports mascot. There's just one tiny problem. It never happened. Archaeologists have dug up countless Viking graves and settlements. They found swords, shields, axes, and even fully intact helmets. And guess how many of them had horns? Exactly 0. A real Viking helmet was usually a simple dome or cone made of iron or leather, designed to, actually protect your head from getting split open. Think about it. Why would you go into a life or death battle with 2 giant handles sticking out the sides of your head? It's a terrible design. So, where did the myth come from? Mostly 19th century opera. When composer Richard Wagner staged his epic opera cycle, the costume designer thought horned helmets looked dramatic and scary, so he slapped them on the Viking characters. The image was so cool, it just stuck. Coming up next, we have lie number 2. Napoleon was extremely short. But he is not. Napoleon Bonaparte, the military genius, the Emperor of France, and the poster child for short man syndrome. We have a whole psychological complex named after him. It's a great story. And it's total garbage. At the time of his death, he was measured at 5 feet 2 inches in French units. The French inch was longer than the British inch. When you convert it, Napoleon stood at about 5 feet 7 inches. That was actually taller than the average Frenchman at the time. So why the myth? 2 reasons. First, he was often surrounded by his imperial guard, who were all hand-picked to be giants, making him look smaller by comparison. And second, and most importantly, British propaganda. The British press had a field day making fun of their enemy, calling him Little Boney. The nickname stuck so well that we still believe it 200 years later. Next, we have the most cursed fact. Well, it is the lie number 3. An apple fell on Isaac Newton's head. Well, this is interesting. You know this story. Sir Isaac Newton is chilling under a tree, pondering the universe, when, bam, an apple falls, hits him on the head, and in a flash of inspiration, he comes up with the theory of universal gravitation. It's the perfect eureka moment. It's also a complete fabrication. Newton himself told the story that his thinking was occasioned by the fall of an apple. He saw an apple fall from a tree, which made him wonder, why does an apple always fall straight down? Why not sideways or upwards? This led him to theorize that the same force pulling the apple to the earth might be the one holding the moon in orbit. He was a genius, but he didn't need a concussion to get there. Lie number 4. Marie Antoinette said, "Let them eat cake." It's one of the most famous quotes in history. The starving peasants of France have no bread, and when their clueless queen, Marie Antoinette, is told of their plight, she scoffs and delivers
Let
the
them
ultimate
eat
symbol
cake.
of aristocratic arrogance. Let them eat cake. This quote perfectly captures the disconnect that led to the French Revolution, and it was almost certainly never said by her. That phrase was first written down by the philosopher Jean-Jacques Rousseau when Marie Antoinette was just a 9-year-old child in Austria, years before she even came to France. The story of an out-of-touch princess saying this was already a piece of anti-royal folklore. Revolutionary propagandists later pinned it on Marie Antoinette because she was an easy target, and it made for a fantastic story to fuel public anger. Next one is the most controversial lie. Christopher Columbus discovered America. This is the big one. In 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue and discovered America, right? Wrong. So wrong. On almost every level. First, you can't discover a place that's already home to millions of people. It's like discovering a pizza in your friend's hand. No, you just showed up uninvited. The continent had been inhabited for at least 15,000 years. And even if we're talking about the first European, he was still beaten by about 500 years by the Vikings, and the whole proving the earth was round thing. That's the biggest lie of all. Educated people had known the earth was a sphere for nearly 2,000 years. The debate wasn't about the shape of the earth. It was about its size. Columbus just thought it was much smaller than it was. He wasn't a genius visionary. He was a guy who was bad at math and got lucky by bumping into 2 continents he had no idea were there. So, from horned helmets to historical heights, it just goes to show that history isn't always written by the victors. Sometimes it's written by opera designers, enemy cartoonists, and bad storytellers. What other facts do you think might be lies? Open a case file in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more historical truths.